Are the Dodgers ruining baseball?
The Dodgers are ruining baseball.
The players themselves, I heard from players last night, like, how do we beat the Dodgers?
How are you supposed to compete when a team has got 4 or 5 times your payroll?
$2 billion.
They said the Dodgers are ruining baseball. Let's get 4 more wins and really ruin baseball.
And win back-to-back titles.
When people think about the Dodgers today, this is what they often think about. But 15 years ago, how people felt about the Dodgers could not have been more different.
The Dodgers are so broke when players steal bases, Frank McCourt asks that they please return them. The Dodgers are so broke, 3 of their players tested positive for ramen noodles.
So how did this happen? In this video, we're gonna walk through how the Dodgers went from broke to first. Why is the gap so big between the Dodgers and every other team in baseball? Why is the Dodgers situation about more than just one team spending a lot of money? And how will it change the future of sports? So how did we get here? Let's take a trip back to 2011 and take a look at when Dodgers owners Frank and Jamie McCourt were getting a divorce after 30 years of marriage. Speculation immediately emerged about whether the McCourts would be able to continue running the team. The divorce led to McCourt losing control of the Dodgers as he was struggling to make payroll. In April 2011, MLB Commissioner Bud Selig seized control of the Dodgers as the McCourts were going through their divorce. In June, the Dodgers filed for bankruptcy, and in November of that year, McCourt and MLB issued a joint statement that McCourt would sell the team. There was a huge list of people who wanted to buy the team. Mark Cuban, Jared Kushner, Steve Cohen, but ultimately, the team sold to Magic Johnson and Guggenheim Partners for a then record $2.15 billion. Who is Guggenheim? Magic was the face of this deal, but the orchestrator was Mark Walter, the CEO of Guggenheim Partners, a private equity group, who makes a career buying complicated, undervalued assets, fixing them, and selling them for a profit. If Magic was the face of the Dodgers, Walter became its operating system. And so, how do you go from a team that's a complete mess, all over the place, and Vicente Padilla is starting on opening day, to a team that is the premier franchise in all of baseball? Even before Walter and Magic bought the Dodgers, the team had 3 distinct advantages compared to the rest of the sport. Number 1, Los Angeles is the 2nd largest media market in the United States. 2, the Dodgers are a historic brand with generational fandom. And 3, Magic and Walter bought the team for cheap because the organization was such a mess. The first big turning point came when the Dodgers partnered with Time Warner Cable to launch SportsNet LA. But because the Dodgers had just gone bankrupt and MLB wanted to help one of their historic franchises get better, there was an exception in the contract. Under MLB rules, teams are supposed to share a big chunk of their local TV money with the rest of the league. Think of it like a tax system. Big market teams help smaller teams so everyone has a chance to compete. That tax is roughly 1/3 of the team's local TV money. But when the Dodgers signed their TV deal, it completely shattered expectations. The deal was roughly $8 billion over 25 years, far more than MLB had projected. If MLB applied its typical formula, the Dodgers would have owed about $95.2 million a year into revenue sharing. But here's the twist. Because the Dodgers had just gone bankrupt, MLB agreed in federal court to lock in a fair market value for the rights of Dodgers baseball games on television. With the number the court decided, the Dodgers only had to pay $28.6 million per year, saving nearly $66.6 million every single season. It's like if the Dodgers built a mansion, but MLB kept taxing them as if they were living in a small house. And according to a leaked source, that exception doesn't expire until 2039, when the Dodgers TV deal expires. In other words, for nearly 3 decades, the Dodgers TV revenue is going to be taxed as if they were still a bankrupt franchise. That is completely unprecedented in American sports history, and it's one of the things the Dodgers have taken advantage of to make sure they can win as much as possible during this window. And in 2012, the Dodgers made their intent known immediately when they traded for Adrian Gonzalez, Carl Crawford, and Josh Beckett, taking on enormous amounts of salary. To get a sense for how the Dodgers front office differentiated themselves, I talked to Zach Scott, who's briefly the general manager of the Mets and was a member of the Red Sox front office when they made that trade with the Dodgers.
So it was a direct indication of where ownership was, just thinking about this, like, we need stars in this market, and we have a lot more financial strength that we can flex.
And then the Dodgers hired Andrew Friedman, who was running the Tampa Bay Rays and one of the best in baseball at getting a bang for your buck. Friedman brought one of the best analytics minds in baseball to Los Angeles, but this time he had a lot more money to spend. But where Friedman really innovated was the depth of the Dodgers roster. It was his ability to pick up guys like Max Muncy, Chris Taylor, and Kike Hernandez.
While they had impact talent, it was this good balance of, okay, how do we make sure we raise our floor so we're protected if there's a lot of injuries, but also have impact so we're getting the most out of as many roster spots as possible.
This iteration of the Dodgers was successful. They played for the World Series in 2018 against the Boston Red Sox. They were a team that was in the playoffs on a year-to-year basis, that was always in contention, that was a place that stars wanted to sign again. But the real turning point for this Dodger franchise came in 2020 when the Boston Red Sox traded their star outfielder Mookie Betts to the Dodgers.
I viewed that trade and subsequent contract extension that they gave him as a real turning point for the Dodgers. He's 27 years old, his first season there with the Dodgers, one of the top 2 players in the game at the time. And they were setting the market rather than reacting to the market, which I think is an important thing for a big market team to realize when it's appropriate to do that, rather than being scared of contracts at that level, which I would say that's where we were at the Red Sox. There was a, organizationally at the ownership level, there was a fear around doing a quote unquote mega deal.
And in a COVID-shortened 2020 season, the Dodgers won the World Series. The trade of Mookie clicked something in the eyes of the front office. They realized when they won the World Series in 2020 that there's a power in having stars in your lineup, not just from a marketing standpoint, but when stars are actually living up to their contract, the value of that contract compounds. It's even more valuable than it seems on paper. Because when you have a star, there's only so many stars for other teams to get. From there, the Dodgers got aggressive in free agency, signing Trevor Bauer in 2021 and then Freddie Freeman in 2022. The Dodgers were successful in making the playoffs in every season between 2021 and 2023, but they needed something more to take them over the top.
Oh, and first pitch crushing! There's nobody like him! Never has been. Doubtful there ever will be.
Shohei Ohtani agreeing to what is believed to be the richest contract in professional sports history. $700 million. He's going to the Dodgers.
The signing of Shohei Ohtani has changed everything for the Dodgers immediately. Beyond Ohtani being a two-way unicorn and a once-in-a-century type player, there were 2 distinct ways that Ohtani's presence in the Dodgers organization completely changed their future. First, the contract. When Ohtani signed with the Dodgers, the number everyone was fixated on was $700 million. But Ohtani deferred the vast majority of the money, pushing payments into the future. In present-day terms, the deal is closer to $460 million, allowing the Dodgers to spend more money in the present. Ohtani will be getting paid as late as 2043 from the Dodgers. What Ohtani did was that he forced the rest of Major League Baseball to confront the fact that the Dodgers weren't gaming the system. They were managing the system better than they were. And the second and more important thing that Ohtani unlocked is that he wasn't just a player for them. He was an entire global market. According to multiple industry sources, the Dodgers made back the cost of Ohtani's contract within his first season through sponsorships, merchandise, international media rights, and global exposure, particularly in Japan. 80 to 90% of tourists who visit Los Angeles from Japan go to Dodger Stadium. And when you walk around Dodger Stadium, the gift shop primarily sells Ohtani jerseys. There's Japanese food and beer sold on the concourse and groups of Japanese tourists of all ages. MLB is also in the middle of this massive global growth strategy where they hope to become more like the Premier League, where there are more fans of teams around the world than in their home markets. It's why the value of teams keeps skyrocketing, and a huge reason why owners are trying to save as much money as possible right now, because going global costs money. Ohtani doesn't just add wins for the Dodgers, he completely changes the way they approach building the team. I like to think about it like this. Imagine the Dodgers are an empty shopping mall, and people might not be willing to open a store at this mall if they don't know what else might be in the mall. But if a major store like the Apple Store opens up in that mall that's consistent, that people know is going to bring in customers, a lot of people are going to be much more willing to open stores at that mall. And that's ultimately what Ohtani does for the Dodgers. It allows the Dodgers to take chances that other teams just can't. Because having Ohtani on the roster as both a marketing machine and as an extremely productive player helps them protect any downside that they might get from a bad contract if they're paying guys off in 5 years who aren't producing at the level that their salary demands. And once the Dodgers unlocked what Ohtani made possible, The next phase of building their organization was not subtle. They signed Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Teoscar Hernandez, and then traded for Tyler Glasnow and signed him to an extension. It worked, and the Dodgers won another World Series. But the Dodgers didn't stand still heading into 2025, signing Hernandez to an extension, signing Japanese phenom Roki Sasaki, former Cy Young Award winner Blake Snell, and reliever Tanner Scott. For the 2025 season, the Dodgers had $70 million more on the payroll than the second closest team, the New York Mets. And in 2024, the Dodgers won their second straight World Series, becoming the first team since the 90s Yankees to go back-to-back. And even so, they haven't let up. They went out and signed reliever Edwin Diaz, but the straw that broke the camel's back came in January, when the Dodgers signed Kyle Tucker to a 4-year, $240 million contract. With the signing of Tucker, of the roughly $2.1 billion the Dodgers have committed to players, more than $1.09 billion of it is deferred, meaning that over half of their payroll isn't being paid right now. It's being pushed into the future. Tucker was the signing that pushed people over the edge to feeling like the Dodgers had this completely unmanageable advantage over every other team in Major League Baseball. Suddenly, the question wasn't, are the Dodgers good? It was, are the Dodgers ruining baseball? There's a lot of people speculating that what's happening with the Dodgers is going to lead MLB to lock out the players and lead to a potential blackout of games for an extended period of time, because the owners feel like they need a salary cap in order to manage what's going on in Los Angeles, that they have an unfair advantage because of how well they've managed their franchise over the course of the last few years. But I think the situation is a lot more complicated than that.
Some owners still look at these things as family assets, which is quite honestly something I don't love. And if you want to be an owner that just keeps passing this team down generation after generation, I'm not sure why you're allowed to do that if you're not getting results.
Too many owners are not spending enough money. Bob Nutting of the Pittsburgh Pirates is one of the most profitable owners in sports because he doesn't spend on players. And there's a lot of owners in baseball who are just like him. But that being said, I don't think it's as simple as saying the owners just need to spend more money. At the same time, the Dodgers do have this structural advantage of playing in a major market. And at a time where a lot of teams' cable networks are falling apart, the Dodgers are still saving money on their taxes due to their bankruptcy filing. The Dodgers also have one of the smartest front offices in all of baseball, and that front office was smart enough to realize that signing Shohei Ohtani could completely change the way that they operate their team. It changes the way that they think about the risks that they're taking on, because they got Ohtani, this once-in-a-century player, for such an incredible value. And the thing that the Dodgers have done is that they've stacked every single advantage that they have. The size of their market, the analytics departments, the way that they progressively think about how to build a baseball team in a way that's smarter than other organizations. Most teams have some of these perks and advantages, but most of them, if not all of them, aren't taking advantage of them to their fullest extent because they want to save money.
It's the same issue that's always existed in baseball, because we always had the Yankees throughout history, and the Toronto Blue Jays, when they won back-to-back World Series, were spending a good amount of money. These were all teams. Even the Marlins in '97, Dave Dombrowski's team was spending a lot of money to win that World Series.
So are the Dodgers killing baseball? I don't think it's that simple, because Game 7 of the 2025 World Series with the Dodgers and the Blue Jays was the most watched baseball game in 34 years. People love to root against a villain, and the Dodgers have become this massive villain. It's a team that people want to see lose, a team that people want to see fail. And people are going to tune into baseball more because the Dodgers are as good as they are right now. I think two things can be true. I think more casual fans are going to be watching baseball because the Dodgers are such a spectacle right now. It is something entertaining to watch, a historic thing that's unfolding in front of our eyes. But I think it's also true that people who are hardcore baseball fans, people who watch multiple games during a week, are discouraged in a way that they haven't been in the past, because they feel like the Dodgers are spending in a way that their favorite team can't keep up with. But I do think that there is this ray of optimism that you can take from the current state of baseball, because a team like the Mets that has spent so much money over the course of the last few years haven't been able to find the same success as the Dodgers, because ultimately people get injured, games have to happen, people get old, and so ultimately you know, you can project out all you want with how good a star is. It's not a video game. Baseball games are real, and weird things happen in sports. It can be unpredictable, which is the beauty of it. But the Dodgers aren't just the model franchise for baseball anymore. It's spreading across sports. Walter and Guggenheim recently purchased a stake in the Los Angeles Lakers, and Freeman and his deputy Farhan Zaidi are now consulting for the Lakers. The Dodgers are no longer just the model franchise because they win games. The Dodgers are a model franchise across all of sports because they've shown that they are the blueprint for growing a global, scalable business in this crazy era of growth that we're seeing in sports right now. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you learned something, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment and like the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.